You hit level 70, and suddenly, the entire game opens up. Heroics, PvP, dailies, professions, reputations, attunements. It comes all at once, and with zero explanation of what actually matters. But you already know what you want. You want a raid, you want a PvP, and you don't want to waste time. Your stalled progress isn't due to your motivation, it comes from the anxiety of not having a clear path forward. So today, we're covering 8 things that you should be on top of in TBC Anniversary. That way you're prepared for the PvP season starting on February 17th, and for Karazhan, Gruul, and Magtheridon's Lair, which open up 2 days later on February 19th. Now that you're 70, ideally you followed the dungeon leveling guide made popular by creators like Biosparks TV. And that's not because it's the fastest leveling method. It's because when you dungeon intelligently while leveling, you're not just leveling. You're building reputation, unlocking heroic access, and removing the stress of having to backtrack to get your attunement quest done after hitting level 70. If you're looking for a quick list of which dungeon to run at each level, you can pause the video here and take a quick look. If you're level 70 already, then you'll want to get your Karazhan attunement done first. Then focus on these dungeons until you reach Revered with each faction to unlock heroics. You don't need to unlock heroics to do Karazhan, Gruul, or Magtheridon's Lair, but you will need these in order to summon Nightbane, the extra boss in Karazhan, and you'll need these unlocked in order to complete your attunement quests for Serpent Shrine Caverns, Tempest Keep, the Battle for Mount Hyjal, and the Black Temple. If you didn't know, raid attunements in the Burning Crusade all feed into each other. So what starts off as simply leveling through dungeons snowballs very quickly into taking care of requirements to access Black Temple. The best way to ensure that you're knocking out the necessary steps for your attunement is to download the add-on Attune. Attune has been around since the 2021 re-release of the Burning Crusade Classic, and players fell in love with it for a good reason. It lays out an interactive roadmap highlighting each step you've completed in the questline and what steps you still need to do. On top of that, it also syncs up with your guildies so you can see which of your friends are on the same steps as you. Now, the next thing that's probably on your mind is gear. But don't just let yourself believe that you need to spam heroic dungeons after finally getting to 70 through spamming normal dungeons. There are a lot of other optional methods to pick up some quick upgrades at level 70. By the way, if this video is helping you in any sort of way, consider smashing that like button and sharing this video with a friend to make sure that they're prepared to take on Illidan's forces. Thank you in advance, and now back to the video. Quartermasters. Now that you're revered with some of the Outlands factions, you've gained access to their Quartermasters, which have level 70 blue gear available for purchase for a small amount of gold. There are some big upgrades here, and each vendor even has a few pieces with resilience for our PvP enthusiasts. There are also some really great BOEs on the auction house, most of which will go for a really cheap price because of how much supply there is coming into the game, like the Master's Treads or Mask of Veiled Death for rogues and ferals. And speaking of spending money on the auction house, professions can be extremely important in the Burning Crusade. I want to highlight a few upgrades that you can get from professions, and then I'll highlight which professions are best for the class that you're playing. Blacksmiths can specialize into becoming a Master Hammersmith, allowing them to craft Dragon Maw, or a Master Swordsmith to craft Lionheart Champion. Leatherworkers can craft and use Drums of Battle, which provides Bloodlust and Heroism, and they also make leg enchants for physical damage classes. Enchanters can make a ton of gold, and they also enchant their own rings with bonus stats that non-enchanters can't use. And engineers get access to a ton of gadgets like helicopters, nitro boosts, parachute cloaks, goblin sapper charges, and zap throttle mote extractors, which lets you suck motes of air right out of the sky, turning engineering into a gathering profession. Now, here's a quick list of every class, spec, and their corresponding best professions. Feel free to pause the video for a brief moment here. Now that you're back, keep in mind that it's possible that your guild may want all of its raiders to have engineering so you can coordinate better strategies within your groups. With PvP Season 1 around the corner, PvP vendors are now active, allowing you to purchase extremely strong pieces of gear for honor and battleground marks. If you are one of those players that hit the honor cap of 75,000 points before launch, you're going to be balling out after visiting this vendor. Here are a few pieces on screen so you can see how they compare to your heroic dungeon BIS list. Now, we're not done with PvP gear yet. TBC Anniversary's first PvP season begins on February 17th after server reset, which means that you'll be able to start earning arena points to purchase Gladiator Season 1 gear. If you're a competitive PvPer, you'll be happy to know that it's easier to fully gear since the rating requirement for your weapons was moved down to 1700 and the rating requirement for your shoulders was moved down to 2000. And if you're not a competitive PvPer, you'll also be happy to know that every other piece that had a rating requirement other than weapons and shoulder was removed, making it much easier for you to get those pieces. Alas, if you're still looking for some pre-raid BIS upgrades at this point, you can now finally venture into heroic dungeons. But make sure you look up a best in slot list for your class so you know which dungeons to target specifically. Keep in mind that the Burning Crusade was the first expansion to introduce the Justice currency through Badges of Justice. Badges of Justice can be spent in Shattrath during the first few phases of TBC, and in Phase 4, they can be used with vendors on the Isle of Quel'Danas. The gear from these vendors are huge, and some of it might even be on your Phase 1 BIS list, just like the items you see here. Now, I have to go ahead and mention this one. If you haven't already, make sure that you visit Shadowmoon Valley to purchase your Flying Mount training, as you'll need this to enter any of the Tempest Keep dungeons. The summoning stone for these dungeons is on the ground level, so unless you have a friendly warlock in your group, you'll need flying to enter. Horde will train with Olrock in the Shadowmoon Village, and Alliance will train with Ilsa Blusterbrew, who is found in the Wildhammer Stronghold. And before we cap off this video, I have a couple bonus tips that I wanted to cover. First, TBC world bosses. Doomwalker and Doomlord Kha'Zix are both available in Phase 1, and they drop insane epic loot that is likely on your BIS list. But both of these world bosses will be highly contested between all of the guilds on your server, so join the coalition, track those spawn timers, and secure that epic loot. Next, Hala PvP, which a lot of people completely ignore. Holding Hala in Nogron gives access to level 66 blue gear, which rivals Nax loot, and cool Talbook mounts. Hala is faction-based PvP, not rated content, and on many servers it turns into scheduled trading. If your server participates, it's an easy way to grab some epic rewards without queues or rating requirements. There's also a lot of daily quests available in Phase 1, and although that can sound a little bit tedious, it does supply you with a steady stream of gold every single day. It's not exciting content, but it is going to be able to help you afford that epic flying mount, which costs 5,000 gold. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts down in the comments below. I really appreciate you tuning into my channel, and I hope that I was able to provide you with some value today. Till next time, peace.